Let's see now literals in Java. So any constant value which can be assigned to a variable is called as a literal. So I'll repeat, any constant value which can be assigned to a variable is called a literal. So a constant value in Java is created by using literal representation of it. So let's see what this means. So here we have an variable declaration. So this int here is data type and it is a reserved keyword. Then we have x here, it is the name of the variable and it is an identifier. And this 10 here, this 10 is a constant value and it is a literal. So any constant value which can be assigned to a variable is a literal. So in this case this 10 is constant and it can be assigned to a variable, so it is called as a literal. So there are various types of literals, so we'll take a look at all of them one by one. So first let's see integer literals. So before that let's understand more about literals. So suppose I now have here a float variable with value 8.5. So now here this 8.5 is a literal. Similarly, if I have a char variable, the value d, then here this d is a literal because it is a constant value and we are assigning it to a variable. So this is a constant value and we call them as literals. So anything that we pass, the raw data which we pass in our programs or give it in our programs is called as literals. So let's see further on. So now we'll take a look at integer literals. So for the integral data types we have seen like byte, short, int, and long. We can specify literal value in the following ways. So the first way which we can specify literal value is allowed digits are 0 to 9. So we can give integer literals either from 0 to 9 or any combination of these. So either from 0 to 9 or any combination of these. So let's see. So int x equal to 10. So here it's either 0 to 9 or combination of digits from 0 to 9. So here we are using 1 and 0. So the combination of 1 and 0 which results into 10. So we can give this as a literal value. So these are decimal literals, and then we have octal literals. So the allowed digits are 0 to 7. So before we understand, so before moving on, you guys should have an understanding of the different number systems available. So these are mostly covered inside the syllabuses of digital logic. So having prior understanding of number systems would be helpful in understanding these. So the decimal literals we just now saw are used for representing the decimal numbers or the decimal number system. Then these octal literals which we'll see now. So in octal literals the allowed digits are 0 to 7. So octal literals are used to represent octal number system or the numbers in octal format. So literal values should be prefixed with zeros. So here int x equal to 0 1 0. So what does this 0 1 0 mean? It means that this is a octal value now. Here we had 1 and 0, so it would result in 10 decimal number, but here we have 0 1 and 0. So you might think that this could be 10 and this 0 here starting would be ignored just as we do in our normal life, but no, this has a special meaning and this is used to represent the octal number system. So this 0 1 0 is now an octal number. So let's try and execute this. So here till now whatever variables and values we have used were all in literal format. They were in decimal literal format, so they were all decimal values. We were using decimal number system. So here the variable I has the decimal value of 10. So now if I add 0 here and make it 0 1 0, if I try to run this, then get the output as 8 because this 0 1 0 gets converted into octal and the octal equivalent for 010 is 8. So we here get the our output is 8. Now let's see further. Now then next we have hexadecimal literals. So hexadecimal literals represent the hexadecimal number system, and we can represent hexadecimal values in our Java programs too. So the allowed digits are 0 to 9 and A to Z, just like the case of hexadecimal numbers 0 to 9 and A to Z. So for extra digits we can use both uppercase and lowercase characters. So this A to Z can be either either in the form of lowercase or uppercase. So this is very few areas where Java is not case sensitive. So when Java processes these extra numbers or these alphabets here in the hexadecimal number system, it is not case sensitive. So even if we write here small a, it would be same as the capital A. We write the uppercase and lowercase have no distinguishing them when we use these in hexadecimal literals, but elsewhere these both would have different meanings. Then the literal value should be prefixed with 0x or 0x. So here just see this x is in lowercase or small, and this x is capital or in uppercase. So we should add a 0x before writing any hexadecimal value. So let's see an example. So here if I write 0x 4 and a, so and if I run this, so I'm getting 74 as my answer. So the value of this 4a results in 74 decimal. So we are getting our output as 74. Here we are getting our output as 74, and if I try something else here, so this results in the value 1199 decimal. So whenever we have the values specified in other number systems and we are trying to print it, then Java automatically converts them into decimal format, and then these numbers are printed. So keep in mind, and these were the integral literals. Now let's move on. So let's see some examples. So example int x, so 0x10. So these are only possible ways to specify integral literals. So let's see one of each one of them. The first one we have is 0777. So we add we have added 0 here, so this would be considered as an octal literal in 777. So this is valid. But now see here the second one 0 and it's 0786. Now why would we get an error? Because the number is too large to be accommodated inside the octal number system. So the octal number system itself does not support this number 786. So we get an error here. So let's try to run this. To 0777, and when we try to run this, yes, we get our output as 511. So this is correct, but now 0786. So when we try to run this, we would get an error. The literal 0786 of type is out of range. So it's giving us out of range error because this number is out of the range of the octal numbers. So we are getting an error here. So now let's move on. Then we have here int x equal to FACE. So this is valid because here we are specifying 0x. So this indicates that this is hexadecimal. So here F, A, C and E, this would be valid. So let's try and run this. So 0, now I'm using a capital X here, and FACE. So when I run this, we get 64206 as our output, because this when converted into decimal results into the value 64206. So this is valid. Now let's see another example. So now we will see the example. So we just saw this one. Now we will see int x equal to 0xDEER. So let's see what happens when we try to run this. So here int x int I equal to 0x Now BEER. So now that we are giving this value and when we try to run this, we get an error. Here we are getting syntax error on token R. Delete this token. So it is giving us error for this character R. So why does it give an error? Because the acceptable range for hexadecimal value is from 0 to 9. Let me write here. Acceptable values for hexadecimal numbers are 0 to 9 and A to F. So acceptable values for hexadecimal numbers are 0 to 9 and A to F. So this is present inside the number system only. So 0 to 9 and A to F. So here we are giving the character R which does not belong in the range. So we are getting an error. So it doesn't know what to do with this character R. Hence we are getting an error. So if we remove this and we try to run, so here it runs. So this is correct. So now let's see further. Now here similarly, if we try to run this, even if changing the B from lowercase to uppercase won't make any difference, you would still get an error. Then let's see this one, int x equal to 0xabb2cd. So we can write this. This number can be as long as we want. It doesn't matter. Even if we use collection of numbers and characters interchangeably, it is always valid. So the number ABB2CD. ABB2CD. So when we run this, we get this number as our output. So the hexadecimal value ABB2CD converted into decimal is this number 11252,429. Now let's see. So here are some examples. So keep these three examples now in your mind. So int x equal to 10. This would result in decimal. Then int x here 010. This would be octal, and this 0x10 would be hexadecimal. So let's see. We have int a as 10, int b as 010. Then we have int c as 0x10. So even though it would seem that this is 10 here everywhere, so the answer would be 10, but no, it's not 10. So when we try to print these, A, B and C, we see print this. Here we are getting 10, 8 and 16 just as we saw in the PowerPoint. So 10 here, A is 10, A is 10, so because it is in decimal and Java preferably uses decimal format. So we are getting 10 as our output here. Then this 010 when converted into decimal results into 8. So we are getting a value for B as 8, and then we have 16 here as the value of 0x10. So in hexadecimal 10 means the number 16 in decimal. So we are getting our output accordingly. So this is our output we just got. So by default every integer literal is type int, but we can specify explicitly as long type by. So let's see another case now. So every integral literal is of type int. So every number we specify in every number. So suppose if I give this number 112, then it would preferably be considered of type int. Even so now if we want it to be considered as type long, so we would have to append the suffix l, l is small or lowercase or the uppercase L to this to make it long value. So here 112L would indicate that this is a long. and without this it would be integer. So let's see this case now. Where if we are making a long variable, where when we try to use this, so if we think then this value should be acceptable in the range of long, but we are still getting an error. So let's see. Here we got an exception, the literal the number of type int. Even though we have specified the data type as long, it is considering it by default of type int. So of type int is out of range. So this number is out of range for the integer data type, and by default Java considers every number to be integer type. So the int data type, so it is out of the range of the int data type. So we are getting an error. So now if you want to specify long, then we would need to append the character L. The value was too big for long too. So now just let's run this. So again, the number is out of range for int, type int. And now if you want to make it long, then we append the character L, and it would consider it as a long value. So now we get our output because we have specified that consider this value as a long value by putting the character L. So small l or capital L, lowercase, uppercase L doesn't matter. So this number is now considered as long, and if we remove this, then it would consider it by default int, and we would get an error. So example, this is valid, and one more thing. So if this is of type int and we are trying to specify a long value here, then also we would get an error. Yes, here it says type mismatch cannot convert from long to int. So if it is considering this number to be of type long, and we are assigning it to a variable of type int, so it cannot be converted into int because there is a simple reason behind this. So as we have seen that the int data type occupies 32 bits of memory. So int is 32 bits. So all numbers of type int are 32 bits in memory size, and long takes 64 bits. Long is 64 bits. So just ignore this I here. O typo. So it is common sense that here we have 32 bits of memory, and we are trying to store a 64-bit long number inside 32 bits. So obviously we can't do that, so we get an error. But the other way is possible. If we have an int value and we try to store it inside a long, then it would be possible because long has 64 bits, so it can store the 32 bits of int inside its memory very well. But when we try to go from long to int, we cannot do that because here there are 64 bits and int has only 32 bits. So the range of int is less because it has less number of bits available, so we cannot convert from long to int. So if we would try to do this, then we would get an compile time error, just as we saw. So here when we are trying to doing this, we are getting an error. Here cannot convert long to int because the number of bits required for a long number is more than the bits available with int, and if we use long here, then it works fine. So this is just as we saw, and here are some use cases. So capital L, or even if we give 10 here, it would consider this as int type, but since this fits int's range, so it doesn't matter here. We have seen this example, so let's move on now. And another thing, there is no direct way to specify byte or short literals explicitly. So just now as we saw that we can specify long values by L by appending L, but we cannot do it with byte literals. Here if we want, we have a byte 127, so 127 is inside a bytes range, so it is valid. So we have 127 as the literal value of variable L of type byte. Here when we run this, we get 127 as our output, so this is correct. But when we try to give 130, we would get an error. Here if we specify 130, then we would get an error because it cannot convert from type into byte. That is another thing, but here this 130 is outside the range of byte. This 130 value, we have seen in the data types video that the range of byte is from negative 128 to positive 127. So since it is till 127 and we are giving 130, it obviously cannot fit inside the available memory of, or the 8 number of bits. The value 130 cannot fit inside the memory available with bytes, so we are getting an error. So this gives us an error. Then we have the short number 32767. So this value is inside the range of short, so this is valid. But if we would try to run this, this is outside the range of short, so we would get an error. So I hope integer literals are understood. So now let's move on to floating point literals. So floating point literal is by default of type double, and we need to specify explicitly as float by the suffixing it with F or capital F. So we need to specify F, it doesn't matter it's lowercase or uppercase. So let's understand this. So let's say we have a variable of type float, and when we try to run this, then we get an error, cannot convert from double to float. Just it cannot convert, so it is considering this 3.4 as double. So this is default behavior of Java. So whenever it encounters number with floating point, it by default assumes it to be of type double, but we are trying to specify it as a type of float. So we want that this literal 3.4 to be considered of type float, but by default it is considered as type double. So if we want to it to be considered of type float, then you would need to give the character f. So when we suffix it with the character f, it considers it as a float value, and we get our answer. So the case of f here, uppercase or lowercase, doesn't matter. So either way it would work. So remember this, that decimal point numbers are by default treated as double. So here this 123.456, this won't work because it will try to convert from double to float, which is not possible because we have seen in the data type series that float is of 32 bits and double is of 64 bits. So obviously it can't convert, it can't accommodate 64 bits into 32 bits. So that's why we get an error. But now if we want this to be considered as float, then we would consider, we would append the character f here, and then it would consider it as of type float. So let's see what happens. So the value, suppose the value 123.456. So when we represent this number, it takes its zeros and ones, the sequence of its zeros and ones. So this is sequence of zeros and ones, their its length. So the length of its binary length, or the length of its zeros and ones sequence, is less than 32. It's less than 32, but So when we represent this number 123.456 into a sequence of zeros and ones, the length of the sequence is less than 32. But first let's understand this. So when we represent the number 456 in sequence of zeros and ones, the length of the sequence is less than 32. So when we represent the number 123.456 in the sequence of zeros and ones, its length is less than 32. So if its length is less than 32, then when we try to specify it here, 0.456, it should be correct because it should fit in the number of 32 bits available with float. But we are getting an error. The Java considers it as float, but as double. It considers it as double, but its length of zeros and ones, its sequence of zeros and ones is less than 32 size, its length is less than 32, then it should be fitted inside the 32 bits of float. But no, what happens is here, suppose here the 32 bits of this number 123.456 these at this end here, and since double has 64 bits, so what it will do is for the remaining 32 bits it would fill it with zeros, making its total length equivalent to 64. So I hope this is understood. So let's go over again. So the number of bits or the length of the sequence of zeros and ones for the number 123.456 is very well less than 32. So by default it should fit inside float's 32 bits. But we get an error because what happens is Java by default consider this to be double type. So when it considers this double, it appends or it adds zeros, 32 zeros before its sequence of zeros and ones, so making the length of its zeros and ones to total of 64. So that's what happens here. So this 1 to 3, if we see its sequence of zeros and ones, then we would get then its length would be 64, and that 64 being trying to be fitted inside 32 would give us an error. So when we specify this f here, what this f tells Java is keep it 32 bits only, don't make it 64. So when we specify this f here, it tells Java to keep this 32 bits only and not to make this 64 bits. So Java won't add these extra zeros to make its length 32. So now that the length of the sequence of zeros and ones is 32, it can fit inside the 32 bits of float, and hence we get our answer, and the program works fine. So I hope it is understood. So double D, if we specify 123.456, it is valid because it is by default of type double, and the range of double can very well accommodate this number. And then we can specify explicitly floating point literal as double literal by suffixing it with type D. So this D is redundant here, so if we want to indicate, just as we indicated here float by putting F, if we want to indicate double, then we can use the D, the suffix D. So we can use the suffix D here, but there is no point in using this because by default this number would be considered as double. So telling it to be considered as double makes no difference. So there is no point in using this D. So this can be uppercase or lowercase, but its usage is irrelevant, and there is no point in using it. And we can specify floating point literal only in decimal format. We can't specify in octal and hexadecimal format. This is important to know So previously we saw in octal, hexadecimal and decimal representations of a number. So this would be an octal number, but if I try to do, so this is wrong because we can specify floating point numbers only in decimal format. So keep this in mind. We can specify floating point numbers only in decimal format and not in octal and hexadecimal format. So we can specify floating point numbers only in decimal format and not in hexadecimal or octal format. So if we try to run this, then we would get an error that it cannot convert double to int. It would consider this as a double value and try to convert this into int. So we cannot do this. So even if we do here, so it would consider it as 10.1. It will just by default ignore. So we cannot specify an octal floating point number. I'll repeat, we cannot specify an octal floating point number. So it is not possible to specify octal floating point number in Java. Even if we do this, it will by default consider it as type double. It will just ignore this 0 and consider whatever is left. So it would consider this as 10.1. So let's move on. So here are some examples. So double D equal to 123.456. This is valid. We have seen this. Then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We just now saw this, and it is treated as decimal value and not octal. We just saw this. Then if we try to do this, we would get an error. So let's try this. So 0x, we are trying to specify a hexadecimal floating point number, so invalid hex literal number. So we cannot specify floating point hexadecimal numbers, so we are getting this error. So this is invalid. We are getting an error. So now let's consider these examples. So float f equal to 123.456. We have seen this. We will get an compile time error because it would by default consider this number of type float and then try to convert this into it will consider it of type double and try to convert this into type float, and this would result in an error. Then we have float f as 123.446d. So this makes no difference. We are explicitly specifying it to be of type double, but it's the same thing. Double can't be converted into float, so we would get an error in both of these. Then we just saw this at double d, and when we are trying to specify a hexadecimal floating point number, we get an error. Then so now let's see this example. So when we try to run this, we get this output. This is considered as correct. So we can. So this is hexadecimal double number. So we previously saw hexadecimal integer number, and this is hexadecimal double number. So if you want it to be of type float, then we could do this, and it would be of type float. So even if I remove this, so just now we saw that adding this f here changed the value. It changed the value because it didn't consider this as a type float, but it considered it as a different number, because in hexadecimal f has a value, and adding f here won't make it float, so it by default would consider this as float, and we aren't needed to specify explicitly the f which we do for normal floating point numbers. So we can very well represent floating point, hexadecimal and double numbers. So let's see if we run this, this would be correct. Then we can assign integral literal directly to the floating point data type, and that integral literal can be specified in decimal, octal, hexadecimal form also. We just now saw this, let me repeat. We can assign integral literal directly to the floating point data types, and the integral literal can be specified in decimal, octal and hexadecimal form also. So this is just the example we saw now. So we specified a hexadecimal value here if in the type float, and this worked. So if we specify an octal value, even this would work. So it would automatically convert this into decimal, and it would convert that decimal into floating point. So this works perfectly fine. So keep this in mind, and let's move on. So here if we consider double D and a hexadecimal value here, so let's see what happens. So here when we try to run this, we get an error because first this value is considered as a hexadecimal value, and there is no such value as hexadecimal BEER, because this is an invalid hexadecimal value. So we get an error for it, and when we run this, then we get our output here. So this hexadecimal number will be first checked, then it is a valid hexadecimal number, so it will converted to double type, and it would be assigned to the variable f. So we get this output correctly. So when we print this, we get this output. Then we cannot assign floating point literal directly to double. So if we try to do this, we would get an error. So let's see. So if we try int I equal to 10.0. So if we try to make int to floating point, then we get an error. So you might think that int is of type int is 32-bit and float is also 32-bit, so it should work. But no, the internal memory structuring for float and int is different, so we get different outputs. So the internal structuring of memory of int and float is different. That's why we cannot assign a float value to a integer variable. So let's move on. So when we would run this, we got an error. So now we can specify floating point literal even in exponential form, or also known as significant notation. So let's see if you want to specify double D equal to 10e2. So this takes the exponential form of 10 multiplied by 102. So let's see. So suppose I have a double variable and I want to specify its exponential value. So doing this would work too. So when I print this, I would get this as an output. So when we run this, we get the output as 1000. So we can even specify exponential values or exponential notation for double values. So if we try to do this for, let's say, float, and run this, then we would get an error. And if we try to specify here f value and we run this, then it works. So we can specify exponential values for float and double using the this e notation, using e and then writing the exponent value. So I hope that's understood. So we just saw this, and if we try to do this, then we would get an error. And when we add this f here, it would work for float too. So we just saw this. So let's move on. So now let us understand Boolean literals. So the only allowed values for Boolean variables are true and false, where case is important. So these are always lowercase, both true and false. So let's say an example. So here boolean b equal to true, and true is all in lowercase, so it is perfectly valid and we would not get an error. And if we try to specify any other values, so let's see. So when we run this, we get the output true. Similarly, if we give false, then too we would get the correct output. And if we try to give 0 here, then we would get an error. So we got an error. So in languages like C and C++, 0 it is treated as false and true is treated as 1. But in Java, there is no such thing as 0 for false and 1 for true. True and false are special values here, and only Boolean values are true and false. So if you want to use them, then we would have to use the keywords true and false. We cannot use 0 or 1 like C or C++. And even the case matters. So here if we try and give here true, then we would get an error. Similarly, if we try to give this in single or double quotes, then too we would get an error. So let's move on. So we just saw these two examples, so we would get an error. And let's here if we are trying to use an integer value as boolean for boolean uses, then we would get an error here. So in this example here, int x is 0, and if we are trying to make a decisional statement if using the value of 0, then we would get an error. Similarly here for while loop, if you are trying to give 1, which would indicate true in C and C++, but these both would result in errors in Java. So we would get error incompatible types found int required boolean. So we should keep that in mind, that for boolean purposes we have to use the values true or false. So if we give here true, we write here true, then it would work perfectly. Or true or false, anything would do. Similarly here also we would have to write true or false. So I hope this is understood. So let's move on. So now we will take a look at char literals, the character literals. So a char literal can be represented as a single character with single quotes. So let's understand that again. A char literal can be represented as a single character within single quotes. So here this is single character within single quotes. So this is a valid definition of a char literal. And if we try to eliminate the quotes, then we would get an error. Similarly, if we would specify double quotes, then too we would get an error. And if we try to give multiple characters, then also we will get an error. So let's see all of these. So we have a char variable with the value d, and if we run this, then it's perfectly fine, we get our output. But now if we try to eliminate these single quotations here, then we get an error. Similarly, if we try to give double quotations, then we get error. And if we try to give multiple characters inside single quotes, then we would get an error. So it doesn't matter if the characters are same or different, it's just that only one is allowed, and more than one would give us an error. Similarly, if we don't specify any character, then too we would get an error. So here a value must be compulsorily specified within the single quotes. And if we try to give space, then even the space is acceptable. So here we can see an empty space is printed, and we can try and select it. So space is also accepted as a character value. So we saw all of these. Then we can specify a char literal as integral value which represents Unicode of that character. So we have taken a look at this in the previous video, but let's go over it again. So for characters, there is something called as Unicode mapping. So all of the characters on a keyboard are mapped to integer values. So the character uppercase A is represented by the number 65, B is represented by the number 66, and it goes on. And similarly, the lowercase a is represented by 97, lowercase b by 98, and similarly it goes on. So these are the Unicode values. So let's see. Here we have an example, char ch equal to 97. So here, as we saw, that 97 is the code value for the lowercase a. So if we try to run this, here if we give 97 and we run this program, then we would get a lowercase a as our output. So the valid range for Unicode is 0 to 65,535. So we can give Unicode values only till 0 to 65,535. If we give value more than this, then we will get an error. So valid is 65,535. So when we run this, so it's getting a character equivalent, but the Eclipse IDE cannot convert it, so we are getting a question mark here. So if we give 36 here, we just increment it by 1, then we will get an error because it does not have any character mapping for the specified number. So we would get a question mark here for majority of non-alphabetic numbers because our program Eclipse IDE cannot process the character which is given by, it cannot print the character uh, at that Unicode value. So here we just saw. So we can also represent a char literal by Unicode representation, which is nothing but u and the 4-digit hexadecimal number. So here we were specifying the decimal numbers, and here we can specify hexadecimal number accompanied with the \u escape character. So let's see. So here char ch equal to in single quotes, pay attention on the single quotes, and \u and bee. So let's try to run this. \u and bee, and if we try to run this, then we get an error because invalid Unicode. So this BEE is not a valid Unicode number. So if we try to run this one now, then let's see what we get our output. It is 0061, and when we run this, then we get a as our output, lowercase a. So the Unicode value for lowercase a is 0061, and in the previous example, just as we saw, if we give here this character literals, then we get an error, and if we give proper Unicode values in numeric Unicode values, then we get proper output. So now here these single quotation marks are compulsory, and if we eliminate them and we try to run a program, then we will get an error. So here we have removed the single quotations and we are trying to run this, so we get an error. Similarly, if we try to use any other escape character, so if we try to use here any other irrelevant escape character, then you would get an error. So invalid escape sequence, valid ones are these ones. So \I is not even a valid Unicode escape sequence. If it's just we specified any random value here. So even if we use like E, then too you would get an error because the only valid ones are \B, T, N, F, R, double quotes, single quotes, and backslashes. So you can only specify these, and for Unicode this U is used. So for specify Unicode we compulsorily have to use this, and if we remove this and if we try to run this, then we get an error. Similarly, if we do not specify and give the direct integer value, then we get 1, because this Unicode 0061, it's the number might be mapped to number 1. So I hope that's understood. Then every escape character in Java acts as a char field. So every escape character, just as we saw, these are treated as char values, char literals. So if we try to give this here \n, then it would work fine. And when we try to print this, then it gives a new line. So here we can see that we are getting an empty line is printed here, this, and we can select it. Similarly, if we give \t, which is for horizontal tab, so here horizontal tab is printed, and we can see that by selecting it. So every escape character represents a char literal. So here this is valid. Similarly, if we try to use an invalid escape character, then we will get an error. So we previously just now saw it, but let's see again. So if we give any other invalid value, then we would get an error. So moving on. So here so we saw just now. So this is valid, and giving here any random value is invalid. So these are some examples. So if we give char ch equal to a without any quotation marks, so we would get an error. And if we give multiple values in the single quotation marks also, then we will get an error. And then even though we can give integer Unicode numbers, if we give a value outside the range, then we would get an error. Similarly, if we try to give Unicode value in characters and without single quotation marks, we will get an error. And here it is important to note that this is a forward slash, and for specifying escape characters we use the backslash. So backslash and forward slash, so giving a forward slash will result in an error. So a forward slash used for specifying escape character results in an error. So keep that in mind, that we use backslash for escape characters, not forward slash. And now let's take a look at 1.7 version enhancement with respect to literals. So when Java's version 1.7 was released, it brought some enhancements to literals. So what were these? Let's take a look at them. So the following two are the enhancement. The first is binary literals, and second is usage of underscore in numeric literals. So we'll see both of these now. So binary literals. So for integer literals, we saw that we could specify the numbers in decimal. So decimal were here specified it. So we specify decimal literals like this using the direct values. Then for specifying octal literals, we put 0 first, and then we give whatever values we want to give. And for hexadecimal literals, we would give 0, then x, and then whatever values we would want to give in the decimal format. So but from version 1.7 we can specify binary literals also, and the allowed digits are 0 to 1. So from version 1.7 we can specify binary literals too. So binary literals are represented in the form of zeros and ones, so they contain only zeros and ones. So we can also specify binary values using we can specify binary literals too. So let's see. So here when we want to specify binary literals, we should use 0b or 0b. So the b here is either lowercase or uppercase. So look at this example. So here 0b and then 111. So this is a binary value. 111 here is a binary value, and to indicate that we are using a binary value, we specify a 0b here. So let's see an example. So here int I equal to 0b. So now when we run this, we get the output 7 because the value 111 is binary its decimal equivalent 7, and the binary of 7 is 111. So we can specify any binary number here. So if I give any random, then its decimal equivalent would be this number. So we can give binary, and the B here could be lowercase or uppercase. Its case doesn't matter. It will work in either situations, whether we use lowercase or uppercase. Then if we try to use here quotation marks, then we will get an error, invalid character constant. So it would treat this as character. Similarly, if we use double quotes, then cannot convert from string to int, so it will consider this as a string. So we need to give this without any quotation marks. Similarly, if we remove the 0b and try to give a binary value, then it would consider the literal of type int is out of range, so it would try to consider this as a normal decimal int value, and since this is out of range, it gives us an error. And if we give any value in the range, so it will just consider it as a binary value, as a decimal value. So this and now the usage of underscore in numeric literals. So from version 1.7 onwards, we can use underscore symbol in numeric literals. So let's say we have this number which is too large, 123.456.789. So we can specify number using the like this. So let's suppose we have double. So when we run this is perfectly fine and it runs. So now if we want to add some separator for our better understanding, so let's suppose that this number is this much big and we want to separate it. So for better readability, we can give underscore like this anywhere between, and when we run this, then it just consider this as a normal double value and it runs the program. So we can specify underscore. This underscore is not evaluated as any special character. It just ignores this and considers the numbers around here. So uh, we can give underscore, but we should take care that the underscore should not be given at the beginning of the number. If we give it at the beginning, then we will get error. Similarly, if we give it at the end of the number, then also we will get an error. And one other thing to keep in mind is the decimal point. So the decimal point cannot have underscore around it. So if we give it like this, then we will get error. So underscores have to be located within digits. So we will get an error of underscores have to be located in digits. So we cannot specify underscore around decimal points. So when we run this, we get error, and when we remove this, it works fine. So we can add any number of underscores we want, and if we try to add double underscores, then also the program works fine. So we can add multiple underscores too. So here this is an example. So this is valid and this also is valid. So the main advantage of this approach is readability of the code will be improved at the time of compilation. So readability of the code will be improved, and at the time of compilation the underscore symbols will be removed automatically. So we aren't bothered with that, and hence after compilation the above lines will be become double D and the number would be like this in the computer's memory, or for the computer the number would be like this only. Just for our better readability, we can specify underscore in between numbers, and here we can use more than one underscore symbol between digits. So here we are specifying two underscores, so that work. We saw this, and then we should not use we should use underscore symbol only between digits. So if we try to use at beginning, we will get error. If we try to use at end, we will get error. Similarly, if we try to use it around the decimal point, then we will get an error. So here we are trying to specify a character value inside a double literal, so double variable. So let's see what happens. So now try to take a guess, will this program run or will we get an error? So when we run this, we get 97.0 as our output. So what happens is, as I have said, that every character has a number associated to it. So this returns its equivalent number and assigns the number to the variable I. So the mapping of A is 97. So this is evaluated to the number 97, and then that 97 is assigned to the variable I. And since it is of type double, the point 0 here at the end is automatically added since the variable is of type double. So if we give int here and run our program, then we would get proper 97 as our output. So here when we print this, we get 97 or 97.0 as our output. So here if we try to specify float as 10 and then we are trying to give L here. So let's see what happens. Float 10 and long, where L can be any lowercase or uppercase. So when we do this, it gets represented as 10. So I'll explain why this happens, because earlier we have seen that float takes 32 bits. Float takes 32 bits of memory, and long takes 64 bits, and long takes 64 bits 64 bits, and the binary representation of the number 10, or the sequence of ones and zeros for the number 10 is, so if we, the 1010, so the number 10 binary sequence is, or the sequence of zeros and ones for the number 10 is 1010. So as we can see, we need only 4 bits. So in the 32 bits of long, so we are specifying here it as long, we are specifying this 10 as long. So the remaining 28 bits, or the remaining 60 bits in the case of long. So here when we occupy these 4 bits, we are left with 60 bits. So these 60 bits are filled with zeros, and total of 64 bits is filled for long. So here total 64 bits will be filled, and the initial 60 bits would be zeros, and then in the end we would have the actual values of 1010, which would indicate the number 10. So when we try to convert this into float now, what happens is float can accommodate only 32 bits, but for the number 10 only 4 are required. So float can accommodate 4. So float accommodates these 4, and with float 28 would be left after accommodating these 4. So those 28 would be filled by zeros. So either way the memory would remain free here, or we would have more space to add zeros and ones and increase our number range. So since we can accommodate these four get accommodated here, 1010, and the remaining are filled with zeros, and hence the number 10 is retained. And here either way there was zeros, so it doesn't concern whether it is float or long. And this conversion of the removal of zeros and the conversion from long to float here in this case is automatically done, and we aren't bothered by doing it. So that's why this program runs fine. So I hope this is understood. So when we print this, we get 10.0 as our output. So that was it.